The fourth year of a full-scale war with Ukraine has led to the destruction of traditional governance mechanisms in Russia. Security agencies operate autonomously, and a systemic conflict is brewing within the government. Power is becoming an arena for escalating conflicts over sharply diminishing resources, writes Important Stories, citing sources close to the Kremlin and Russian security agencies. The system built by the Kremlin over 2 decades is disintegrating into autonomous interest groups that operate without regard for the center and are directly clashing with one another. One source says resources are rapidly dwindling and the struggle for them has become systemic and all-encompassing. According to him, no loyalty and no connections guarantee anything anymore. This state is characterized by the disappearance of previous informal agreements and the loss of the basic rules of the game that previously kept the elite within manageable boundaries. According to sources, representatives of the security agencies have stopped coordinating their actions with the government and the domestic policy bloc of the Putin administration. They are now acting autonomously, guided by their own interests. FSB officers also speak of an internal reversal within the repressive apparatus. One current officer admitted that all equipment and resources have been redirected toward wiretapping the government, regional administrations, and other agencies. The foreign agent designation, used for years to pressure the opposition and independent activists, is no longer a centralized tool of the presidential administration. According to sources, the designation is now being distributed without coordination with the Kremlin, and it includes owners of large businesses and even pro-government spokespeople. First Deputy Chief of the Presidential Administration, Sergei Kirienko, responsible for domestic policy since 2016, also found himself at the epicenter of this hidden struggle. Sources claim that security forces often detain officials, even those appointed by him, without prior notification to the presidential administration. The security services believe that the tension surrounding Kirienko is also due to his close ties with Yuri Kovalchuk, a shareholder in the bank Russia, who is considered the second person in the country after Putin in elite circles. For the security agencies, Kovalchuk remains a political rival, and the war has only exacerbated inter-clan tensions. According to sources, the longer Russia's war against Ukraine continues and the greater its impact on the Russian economy, the more acute the inter-clan conflicts become. Earlier, in an article for the Sunday Times, influential British commentator Mark Galeotti analyzes the decline of 72-year-old Putin, a man who once seemed a calculating and cold politician, but has now turned into an aging dictator who has lost touch with reality. Putin remains convinced he's a genius, but the reality is different. Everyone who ever dared to oppose him has disappeared, some in exile, some in prison, and some in the grave. Today, only sycophants and fanatics remain around him, repeating that everything is going according to plan. The reality, however, is different. The country is bleeding in Ukraine. The economy is crumbling, and the leader himself increasingly resembles a decrepit monarch locked in his own palace. Galeotti writes that the world is now dealing not just with Putin, but with Putin squared, a man who lost the ability to doubt and perceive the truth. He has surrounded himself with phantoms. He has stopped listening even to those closest to him, advisors, bankers, military officers. Any attempt to convey bad news to him ends in silence or scorched careers. Even his disastrous decision to invade Ukraine was born not out of strength, but out of fear of being forgotten, out of fear that history would write of him as the man under whom Russia fell apart. The result: millions of ruined lives, hundreds of thousands killed, dozens of cities razed to the ground. Putin is aging. He has less energy, less control, less trust in the people. He's afraid to appoint a successor for fear of looking like a lame duck. He's afraid of losing the war, but even more afraid of admitting he's already lost. He has locked himself in a golden cage, writes Galeotti. He is consumed by fear, paranoia, and the desire to appear great, although he has long been ridiculous. The Russian elite long ago stopped respecting him, but they still fear him. The country operates on autopilot, and the dictator himself dreams of only one thing: to have his name written into textbooks, not as a murderer, not as a coward, but as Russia's savior. But even that won't be granted. History has already decided, the British political scientist emphasizes.
For nearly 2 months, federal agents have been carrying out surprise raids in Chicago in pursuit of the Trump administration's immigration agenda, emerging from unmarked vehicles in neighborhoods throughout the city to confront and detain stunned members of the public. The arrests have been aggressive and even violent, with agents striking restrained people, deploying tear gas outside of schools, and pointing pepper spray at brazen onlookers who inevitably gather to decry what's happening. A culture of fear has taken hold, with some people too scared to leave home, especially in the city's predominantly Latino communities. In social media posts and interviews, many have expressed shock at the agents' use of force. Since it began in early September, Operation Midway Blitz has resulted in more than 3,300 arrests, according to attorneys for detainees. In addition to people who were in the country illegally, many U.S. citizens have been swept up in the crackdown. The operations have been dizzyingly random. Agents have targeted both high and low-income neighborhoods. They've made stops at schools, workplaces, and grocery stores. Even Millennium Park, the site of Cloud Gate, the sculpture lovingly known as the Bean, has seen arrests. The crackdown has galvanized Chicagoans, who have banded together to protect their neighbors. They have borne witness the best way they could, by pulling out their phones to document what was happening. The Associated Press gathered some of the videos. For this story, some of the details of the people involved in the arrests, including their names, ages, and immigration statuses, were gleaned from interviews, local news reports, and court records. The Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Customs and Border Protection and Immigration and Customs Enforcement didn't respond to emails sent Friday seeking further information and comment about the actions taken by agents seen in the footage. But Trump administration officials have previously routinely defended agents' actions.
That's my brother! Kill! Get off of me! Get off of me!
My brother, obviously, he didn't want to get caught, so, because he was illegal, so he started running to the corner.
Hey, look, just
That's when multiple came out the cars and they tackled him to the ground, and that's where I chased behind them.